Chances are that if you were anything like me growing up, you always look forward to every year the 10 best car lists. And I used to read magazines like this, and I would always look forward to the list and see, what are the best cars out there because I was just interested and I was, dreamt about what car I would be buying. Well, fast forward to today, and unfortunately, the 10 best car list it just aren't doing it for me. I'm pretty sure a lot of car enthusiasts agree that the way they're doing the 10 best car lists just don't make sense. For example, I think Car and Driver has 3 electric cars on their lists. It doesn't make sense. Electric cars aren't ready yet. So I set out to improve that and completely revamp the 10 best car list. I made new categories and new criteria. So in this video, I'm going to be covering all of that, and I'll give you the top 10 best car list based on my criteria. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's get started. So here it is, guys. This is my proposal for the new 10 best cars categories and criteria. And, since I was putting pen to paper, I said I might as well do a little PowerPoint presentation and present my proposal to you guys. You guys let me know in the comments what you think about this. And so this is kind of what we're going to go through in today's video. We're going to define what makes a car the best. We're going to give you guys, or I'm going to give you guys the 10 best categories, the new ones, the revamped ones. And then we're going to go over the whole list, right? The list for 2025, the way that I categorized it, and the numbering points, etc. Let's go ahead and go through what makes the car the best. And so I set out and thought, what do consumers really look for when it comes to certain categories and certain cars? We want really the best bang for your buck. And to me, that has to do with value, reliability, longevity, heritage, how the car makes you feel. All of that goes into our buying process. It's not just financial at all. It's all about many different factors. And so kind of broke it down to these criteria. So we got value, right? So how much bang for your buck are you getting? We have comfort. Every car needs to be comfortable. Even race cars need to be comfortable. If you make a really good and fast race car and it's completely uncomfortable to drive, you're not going to be a very fast driver in it. So comfort is very important no matter what car you have. Innovation. Innovation is important because we're looking at the newest cars here. So this is the new car list. I'll come out with a used car list eventually, but this is the new car list. Innovation is important, but innovation for innovation's sake is not great. I'm looking at you, Mercedes-Benz. A lot of the stuff that they do is kind of wacky. It is innovative, but is it innovative or not? That's something to look at. Is it fun? Right? Some cars are meant to be fun. Some cars are not, and that's okay. And it's a criteria for when we go and buy cars. We want to know if it's fun or not. The next 3 are the most important ones, I think, is engine, transmission, and reliability. And is the engine that's in it, is it a reliable engine? Does it have a track record of being developed over decades instead of just a brand new engine they just brought up, or they bought some Korean design and rebadged it, or whatever the case may be? There's lots of that going on. Is the transmission, is that well made? Is that done properly by a good transmission company? Has it been thought out? Is the programming done correctly? Because even the 10-speed automatic that was co-developed with Chevy and Ford, it's a very different transmission in let's say a Mustang than it is a Camaro. And that's all about tuning and choices that corporations make. And the last one I think is my most important, my favorite one, is corporate structure, because corporate structure kind of devolves the rest of the criteria. So depending on the corporate structure, you're going to get a good car or a bad car made from that corporate structure. And I wanted to get a little bit more specific about this because corporate structure, it has a lot to do with the finances, the makeup of the corporation, the history of the corporation, who's its partners are, the suppliers, and a lot of that comes from their income statement. So I went through, just like I did with the Nissan, Honda buying Nissan video, I went through the 10Ks or financial statements of public, when you have a publicly traded company, you have to file a 10K, that's what it's called, and that's a financial statement. I go through and see their profit margins, their revenue, and all of that to see, if there's a trend line going up or there's a trend line going down. Is the company going to survive, right? You don't want to buy a car and then have the company go out of business in 3 years. That would be unfortunate. And so finally, I wanted to show you guys the new categories because current car manufacturers and car drivers, like this one, like journalist, car and driver, they have weird categories. I mean, That's one of the things I wanted to change, and so here's my proposal. So best daily car, right? So best daily use, any practical car, good on gas. Best daily SUV, best sports car, best miles for your dollars, best 3-row SUV for the growing family, best luxury SUV for the family that has a little bit of money to spend, best muscle car, because we're in America, right? I think muscle cars are ingrained in our culture, and I think it should always be. Best value truck for when you need a truck to work, right? For work and reliable, etc. And then obviously best big truck for when you need a truck to tow a lot of weight for long distances. Then you have the best EV because, we're in this 2024, 2025. We have to talk about EVs. And I put in there for when a microwave will do. And then finally, car of the year. This is the hardest one for me to kind of figure out. And this is the most competitive category, and there can only be one. I hope you guys enjoy this new format, and let's see what cars won. But again, let me know in the comments if you think I should change anything about this, if there's anything you disagree with. I'd love your feedback, and we're going to make this better every year. Let's get on to the list. So now that we have our criteria and our categories, let's go through each one and pick our winners. First category is best daily driver. And this is the kind of car someone can buy to just putt around their town, go road trips, and just general use, something that'll last a long time, reliable, kind of fun, and high on the value scale. And how we're going to do this for every category is we're going to pick the runners up or honorable mentions. We're going to talk about them, and then we're going to talk about the winner at the end and crown them, and then move on to the next category. So for this category, a really, really good runner-up is the Mazda 3 hatchback. If you're going to buy an automatic sedan or hatchback in the compact sector, you're going to want to buy the Mazda 3. I really recommend it because they still use a regular 6-speed automatic transmission. Most compact vehicles of today, if you go for the automatic, you get a nasty, terrible CVT. I don't recommend them. I am working on a video to showcase why the CVTs just don't belong in the automotive industry, but that's for another video. For this video, honestly, Mazda 3 hatchback, very, very hard to beat. And this right here, this is the Select Sport. It's got leatherette interior. It is a hatchback. I always recommend buying the hatchback because it's got extra space in the back and extra usability. And honestly, it's a really great value at $27,000. It's an awesome looking car, and it's got one of the best interiors in the business. So the interior of this car is really well done. When you sit in it, they know what the heck they're doing, and Mazda as a company is a really great sporting company. It's a small one out of Japan, and with their partnership with Toyota, the reliability is really, really good. Next runner-up, the Nissan Versa. I know this is weird, right? But honestly, this is the cheapest car you can buy in America, and if you get it with the manual, it's still really reliable and really good. That's why it's on the list. It's a really economical car. It'll get you from point A to point B. It has to be a manual though, and that's why it didn't win the best value car for 2025. It's you don't want to get the CVT. Stay away from the Nissan CVT. They have improved it, but it's really, really bad. And so again, cheapest new car you can buy is the Nissan Versa S with the stick shifts. Really lovely. It's got the engine, a 4-cylinder engine that Nissan's been basically developing for the last 30 years. So you know it's going to be reliable. It's under stressed. It's not going to be powerful. It's not that roomy, but it's not bad at all. And now for the winner of the best daily driver car in North America for 2025, and that's going to be the Honda Civic Hatchback Hybrid. Now specifically the hybrid because Honda replaces the transmission, which is normally a CVT, and put in its place an electric drive motor. So no longer do you have a nasty CVT with a steel belt. That's gone. It's a completely different system. It's an electric system. It gets you 40 miles to the gallon roughly, and it's super useful, and the car looks great. It's a really great looking car. I mean, this thing is a best value. These are going to fly off the shelf. You're going to want to get on lists possibly to buy one. These are awesome. I'm recommending it to everybody. I have my own version of a Civic hatchback, and so I know what I'm talking about when it comes to the hatchback space, the usability, the reliability. It's they're very well built here in North America, and honestly, can't say enough great things about it. There's different trims you can get. I recommend the sports leather or the sport touring trim. It's a little bit expensive at $32,000, but frankly, when you go to resell the car in 5 years, 10 years, you're going to get most of that value back. So it's not going to be a very expensive car to own in the long run. And so there it is, my pick for best value car. Next category, best daily SUV, and we're back to Mazda. Mazda's a really good company, like I said. And the CX-50 is my favorite compact SUV that Mazda makes. It almost won this category. It's just that the competition's really, really stiff on this category. This is how I would get it. I would get the very base model, the 2.5S Select. The reason I like it so much is because this specific model shares a lot of its hard points and parts from Toyota. So Toyota has a 20% stake in Mazda, and it's they have a 20% stake in Subaru. They have a 12% stake in Mazda, if I remember correctly. This is back to the financials. And because of that, they share a lot of parts, a lot of drivetrain. In fact, if you get the Mazda CX-50 hybrid, that hybrid system's completely Toyota. It's a Toyota designed system taken from the RAV4 and just put into the CX-50 with very minor changes. That's how close they are. So CX-50, great interiors. You're not going to get a better interior, honestly, than this car. I mean, it looks almost identical to the Mazda 3 interior, and that's a really good thing. It's really well done. Everything is ergonomically placed. A lot of these are made in Japan. Just a lovely, lovely car. And the next runner-up is the CR-V all-wheel drive hybrid. This almost won the category. I love this thing to death. It's a really great system. The only issue I have with it is, it's not really an issue, it's a new system. It's only about 8 years old. It's been developed for about 8 years. So it is Honda, and Honda knows how to engineer things. But the winner of this category is going to be the Toyota RAV4. And the reason the Toyota RAV4 is the winner is because I love the Toyota RAV4 hybrid. It's actually a pretty fast vehicle. It goes 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds, which is insane. Great gas mileage, and the reliability of the hybrid drive is going to be a lot more robust, in my opinion, because they've been developing it for 25 to 30 years. That's a lot of development time, and they know what they're doing in this aspect. The reason I would get the CR-V over the RAV4 would be if you want a little bit more fun, sportier feel of driving, I would go for the CR-V, because that's the actual drivetrain and powertrain is built to kind of be more enjoyable. But if you want something that's going to last 10 to 15 years with minor issues, RAV4, you can get any of the trims, the hybrid ones. They're all pretty damn good. And for what it gives you, it's really hard to beat. It does the snow well, it does the commute well, it parks well, it's not that big, it's easy to drive. It's the only, I guess, big issue is that it's a little boring, but hey, for what you're getting, hard to beat. Now for some fun stuff. Next category is sports car. Best sports car for 2025. And we're back to Mazda again. I didn't realize how many Mazdas I actually chose here. Again, when I did this, I put every single car in the category that fits, and I weighed them against each other, and I put them up. And the Mazda Miata, we all know them. The Mazda is always the answer. The Miata is always the answer to a lot of our sports car questions. That's because it's inexpensive, it's reliable, they know what they're doing. They've been developing since 1989, so they may know a thing or two about making sports cars. They're one of the few manufacturers still making a pure sports car today. And every iteration gets better and better and better. This thing only weighs like 2,500 pounds. That's a really lightweight car. For contrast, the Civic hatchbacks and the Civic hybrids, etc., they weigh between 2,800 and 2,900 pounds, sometimes 3,000 pounds. That's pretty lightweight. For a sports car, lighter is better. And so Mazda is a lovely, lovely car. I would obviously choose it in red, manual, etc. You know the drill. So the next runner-up, this may surprise you, Porsche 911. Lovely, lovely car. It's been a nameplate since the 50s. They've been developing the same car forever. It's got every part of what I think makes a car great, which is continuous development. It's got a heritage. The engineers know exactly what they're working on. They've got long-standing engineers that have been working on the same car for the last 40 years. It makes a great car, and it's German-made, right? So the German engineers are some of the best engineers in the world. We know this. And so it's a great car. And I would order mine just like this. This is the Carrera T, because the regular Carrera, 911 Carrera, doesn't have a limited slip differential. I mean, that's really stupid. I don't know why Porsche even offers any of their 911s without a limited slip. And if you don't know what a limited slip is when you're losing traction in one tire, the other tire goes with it. Without a limited slip, the tire that's losing traction is going to get all the power and you're not going to go anywhere. On track especially, terrible idea. It doesn't make for a fun driving experience. And so this is what I would get. The issue is on the bottom right. $150,000 with a few options, right? The aero kit and a couple of, honestly, just a couple of things, right? Aero kit, sports seats, that's it. A red, I like it in red versus white, right? So I think the red is like $1,400. This car is way too expensive for what it is. Way too expensive. And there's a lot better value and better fun car that you can get for less money. And the next runner up, the C8 Z06. This is it. Would be my build. For $127,000, you get a flat plane crank 5.5 liter V8 engine making 670 horsepower, which is a lot more horsepower than that Porsche does. It's got really fast 0 to 60. Has really great exotic looks. The interior is really great. And honestly, I don't have to make an argument for this. All I gotta do is show you the video. And just listen to how great this thing sounds. I know this is an aftermarket exhaust, but this is just the engine. Just listen to this. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's nice. And a lot of you guys know I was on the list for the C8 Z06. I dropped off for various reasons. I'll cover that in a different video. But for this video, this car did not win. It's not enough value because there's one car better that does all the sports car things for less money. And here it is. It's the brother to the Z06, the Z51. This is the 2025 Corvette Stingray, and in case you guys have been following along my channel, I actually owned one of these. That's something I want you to mention for a second. A lot of journalists, most car journalists that review cars, don't bother buying cars because they get sent cars from the manufacturers, and so they don't have a car payment. They don't put their money where their mouth is, so they can say all these great things about cars and never buy them. I actually buy my own cars with my own money, and so you'll see that 3 out of the 10 cars on this top 10 list, I've actually bought with my own money. And so I put my money where my mouth is. I owned this car. It was a great car. I didn't want to sell it, but we had to sell it because I was buying a property in Florida and the market was crazy back then in 2020. So I sold my C8 Z51 Corvette. It's just an awesome looking car. And I recommend it to basically everybody that wants to buy a sports car. It's a rare thing to have such a great Corvette available to you. The C3 Corvette was great. The C5 and the C6 Corvettes were great. The C8 Corvette is just amazing. And it does so many things for so many reasons. And you can't beat that value. So that's the C8 Corvette, best sports car. Let's move on to families. Best 3-row. The best 3-row, and these are the runners up. The Toyota Highlander. Now, the Toyota Highlander's got a lot of issues in my opinion. They went away from the V6. They used to have a V6 in this thing. They went away from it. Now they have 4 cylinders in place. One's turbocharged. The other one's a hybrid. Both of them feel like crap. I've driven both of them. They don't feel great. The hybrid feels like it's got enough power, but it's clunky. It doesn't do well with the amount of weight it's pushing around. I don't think Toyota's hybrid system have been really developed for such large vehicles. And then you go with the other engine option, and it doesn't feel that powerful. It feels slow. It feels awful. It's not that reliable either. Because they changed the drivetrain, you're going to want to give Toyota 3 to 4 years to figure out the kinks in them before they perfect it. Stay away from this one, but I had to show you guys since I know a lot of people in the comments section are going to say, hey, what happened to the Highlander? Well, it's not on the list for a reason. This is a runner-up because this is an awesome car. This is a Suburban 3-row. If you want the ultimate 3-row SUV, this is it. It looks amazing, but really the interior of the thing is awesome. Look at this. 3 rows, tons of space, tons of room, tons of power. You can tow a bunch with it, like 8,000 pounds. The Suburban cannot be beat, except for one problem. Families, they have a lot of mouth to feed. $75,000 the way I would trim it out, right? I would get a diesel engine. I love that diesel, 3-liter diesel. It was that 3-liter diesel was produced and it was actually developed with Isuzu. Isuzu makes really good diesel engines, and so I trust that this engine is really reliable, and it has been reliable for Chevy for the last 5 years. So the reliability track continues. The reason I don't recommend it for the best 3-rows, again, the value. You can get basically everything this thing does for a lot cheaper. And so the winner is the Honda Pilot, specifically the EXL. And I'm saying this because my wife owns one. We bought her a 2025 Pilot EXL in platinum white, just like this. The reason we got the EXL and not the Trail Sport is because we didn't want the panoramic roof. Try not to get panoramic roofs or sunroofs if you can get away with it. They are not great to own long term. They'll leak, etc. Not a great idea. But honestly, the Pilot, what Honda's done with the Pilot has really transformed it. They made it a little bit more off-roady, which is kind of cool. But honestly, the way it drives, the V6, the all-wheel drive, it's actually a little bit fun to drive even. I know it's not what you're looking for when you're doing a 3-row, but man, I like it a lot. I like it so much that we bought one. So there it is, the winner of the best 3-row. How about if you have a lot of money though? How about if your family is pretty well off and you want the ultimate in 3-row comfort, or not even 3-row, let's just say any SUV? Because a lot of wealthy families, most of them don't really have a lot of children. Let's say they have 1 or 2 or a dog. Well, let's go through that category. And at first, I had the BMW X5 at the top of my list. Right? The top of my list, I was gonna win this category because I love the X5 so much. We actually also own one. We have a 2011 X5 diesel. And that's a great car. It basically is the same spec that I'm showing you guys right here. It's got that dark brown interior with the dark blue exterior. Very lovely. There's 2 issues with it. Issue number 1 is you can no longer buy an X5 without the panoramic roof. Not the biggest deal. The biggest problem is not really the price, depreciation. If you want one of these, lease it, right? If you want one of these new, I would lease one. That's the best idea. That way you kind of try to avoid the depreciation hammer. If you want one of these to own, buy it after 3 to 5 years. You're going to save a ton of money. And that's why the value is not really there. If you're going to own it for long term, it's really expensive and it doesn't make any sense because the depreciation is just going to murder you. And so the winner, yeah, you guys actually already saw it, for the best luxury SUV is, we're back to the Suburban. I know, the Suburban. It's not something that many people think of as luxury. But what's more luxurious than the space, the safety, the room, the capabilities, the longevity, the reliability? There's no more safety, and there's no more luxury than that. Also, the residuals, the depreciation is it's not bad at all. It's actually really good compared to the BMWs. So the Suburban, any of the Suburban, the Tahoe, and the GMC versions, they're all cousins of each other. They win this category handily. If you want luxury, get this. Avoid Mercedes, avoid BMW. This is the one to get. Now, best muscle car. And this is going to be interesting because a lot of people are going to say that muscle cars, there's only one on sale today. And I thought the same thing. I thought the Mustang was going to run away with this. And, it didn't make the list. The Ford Mustang is a great car. I'm glad they make it. I'm glad I got to drive one actually on track, a Mach 1 previous generation. And it was lovely. That V8 is really nice. I think Ford knows how to make that V8 really well. That 5-liter V8, they put it in their trucks, they put it in their Mustangs. It's awesome. But it's not the winner, because there is a better muscle car than this. And there's another one to consider that you may not even think is a muscle car. And that's the BMW M3 Competition xDrive sedan. I know it's a lot of words, but this is German muscle. It's all-wheel drive, under 3 seconds, 0 to 60. Tons of power, tons of performance. It'll blast down any highway, any drag strip, any racetrack, anywhere you want to take it. And it's frankly, for performance, it's really, really good. It's a little bit expensive, but even with the regular Mustang GT, you have to put the performance pack on it. You're at 50 grand already, or you get the Dark Horse that's $65,000 to $75,000. And so this is not that far off pace. And we're talking about the best muscle car. What's going to give you the best muscle car experience? BMW is hard to beat, but there's one that actually beat it out. And it's not one that most people think often. It's a Cadillac. And for those of you that guessed, and we're going to continue here, guessed right, This is the CT5V Blackwing. The Blackwing itself makes it so that it has a 6.2 liter supercharged V8 engine, which is the same one that, by the way, my Camaro ZL11LE has. It's an awesome V8 rumble, and that's why this wins the category. Because you need a V8. It needs to be, if not the most powerful, one of the most powerful cars on the market. It needs to have a ton of space. It needs to be comfortable. It needs to be able to do long highway stretches. And there's no better car than this for that. It's better than the BMW because the BMW doesn't really have a really good soundtrack. And a muscle car needs a good soundtrack. The Mustang does have a good soundtrack. But it doesn't have the comfort, it doesn't have the speed, it doesn't have the power that this thing does. And the best thing about this is you can buy this thing in a manual. If you don't buy this in a manual and you're buying a muscle car, you're doing it wrong. The manual in this is going to be significantly better. And I believe these will hold their values more than any other vehicle out there, any other Cadillac especially. And so this is the winner of the best muscle car for 2025. It's an awesome, awesome car. I've driven the automatic version on track once for a lap. And I was surprised at how close it was to my Camaro ZL11LE, which is undoubtedly a muscle car. The next one is the best value truck. Now, trucks, they get bad names, right? So trucks these days have grown larger and larger and larger and more expensive, and they're getting way more expensive. And a big reason for that is actually our governments, especially the U.S. government. They made it so that car companies have to sell more electric vehicles and hybrids in order to be able to sell their trucks. They have carbon emission issues. They have CAFE standard issues, and for example, Elon Musk's Tesla, 40% of its profits come from selling carbon credits to companies like Stellantis for selling Dodge Chargers and Challengers that are extinct now because of the government, and Chevy and others for selling big pickup trucks that are bad for the environment, quote unquote. And so these trucks have gotten more and more expensive. But Ford came out with this Ford Maverick, and I wanted this very much to win this category because this is basically made for that category. Two problems. Problem number one, you used to be able to get this for under $20,000. Now, it was the complete base model, etc. But 2 years ago or 3 years ago, you could have gotten this for under $20,000. Now, you're going to be hard-pressed to get this to be under $30,000. So they've increased the price a lot, and that's because it's been selling really well. And really the biggest reason that this did not win the best value truck is its reliability. It's a new platform, it's a new engine, it's built in Mexico, which is not the best always. And I just would not buy this right now. Maybe in 5 or 6 years, Ford will finally figure out the reliability problems and quality issues. But there's been engine fires that they don't know how to fix. There's been transmission issues that they don't know how to fix. There's the hybrid drivetrain has problems. Stay away from this car if you want something reliable, or this truck if you want something reliable. But I had to mention it. A really good value is the Nissan Frontier. People don't think about this. And again, Nissan's on the list, even though Nissan's not doing well as a company. But I had to put it on this list as a runner-up because you can't get better value than this. It tows like 6,000 pounds, 7,000 pounds almost. You can get the Pro 4X to go off-road. You can get the basic one. It's still using an old school V6. It's got the Mercedes 9-speed automatic, which is a great transmission behind it. It's got a lot of safety built into it. It's just been developed. It's been improved slightly over the last 30 years. And so it's really good. I'm just giving you an example here. You can get a Nissan Frontier crew cab 4-wheel drive. It's going to have cloth seats, and it's not going to be very fancy anywhere. But it'll get you the basic truck, work truck, for $28,000. It's really hard to beat that price. It's even cheaper than the Maverick. So I would get this over the Maverick any day of the week. That V6 has been developed by Nissan for a long time. They know what they're doing. I would definitely put my money behind this. It's almost won, except for the fact that for a work truck, you want more capability. You want something a little bigger, something that can do more, something that's reliable. And Ford knows how to do trucks. Ford knows how to make the best trucks in terms of the F-150. In case you didn't know, the F-150 is the best-selling vehicle in the United States every year for the last 10 or 15 years, 20 years. There's a reason for that. Ford knows what they're doing. But I would never get their turbocharged V8, V6s. I would never get the turbocharged V6s at all. I'm not a big fan of the EcoBoost nonsense. The way I would spec this out is you get the V8, you get the bottom XL package with vinyl, the vinyl interior. Yes, that's the one I would get. In fact, I would get this truck right here for sale, just advertised online for $46,000. This is the truck I would get. And if you take a look here, it's got the steel or aluminum wheels. It doesn't matter. You spray in liner in there, you'll be fine. And these seats, I wanted to show you guys these vinyl seats. They feel pretty dang good. They're not very breathable, but that's the only problem with them. You just turn the AC up. And the work truck interior, the XL, the bottom end interiors of Fords are just leagues above Ram and, well, Ram doesn't really have a affordable truck really, but Ram trucks and Chevy. Chevy's bottom end interior is terrible, just awful. So if I'm going to get a really good value truck, it's going to be the Ford. Get the V8 because it's a trusted and proven drivetrain. It's going to have a 10-speed automatic that every other truck gets. It can tow between 10 and 12,000 pounds. That's why it wins this category. You can't go wrong with a Ford F-150. Look at this thing. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's the American truck. It's the antidote to these expensive ass trucks. Now, not everyone's needs are going to be met with this truck. It can tow a lot, 10 to 12,000 pounds, but you sometimes need a bigger one. So the next category is the big truck, and Ford's up again because there are only 3 automakers make trucks that can tow more than 15 to 18,000 pounds. Ram, Ford, and Chevy. Ram's not even included in this at all because since 2019, when Stellantis formed, they have gone downhill in quality. They've been cost cutting. They've been doing shitty financial dealings to make more profits without making necessarily more revenue. They're not investing in their technology. They're falling behind because the corporate structure is just trash. It's awful. Stay away from Ram for now. That's my opinion. That's my recommendation. Ford, they're okay. They're doing fine. They could be better, but their Super Duties and their trucks, they don't mess with. They always invest in them. And so I have the Super Duty on here. If you're going to get a basic truck that can tow 18 to 20,000 pounds, this would be my build, $71,000. Now, my problem with their Super Duties is that you're paying a lot of money for not a lot of truck. So again, this is the basic XL is the work truck version. This is the bottom end version. Get it an interesting color. It's a free color. And get the high output diesel, you're at $71,000. That's literally it. And so there's a better truck out there if you want a long haul truck, because let's face it, if you're a long haul truck, right? If you're a consumer and you're buying a truck for your family to take your RV or your car hauler, etc., to your racetrack or whatever the case may be, and I'm talking specifically about me, I'm actually eventually going to buy a really nice heavy duty truck to tow my race cars out to the racetracks with an RV on it. You want something that's nice on the inside, nice on the outside. And so today's winner is this right here. It's going to be the Chevy Silverado 3500 HD with the Duramax. That's the Duramax diesel engine. Again, Duramax diesels were developed or co-developed with Isuzu. And Isuzu knows what they're doing with their diesels. They're proven good global diesel platform. And Chevy has been partnered with them for, I think, 25 years now. And so these trucks are proven. They're really well done. The only issue I would say is that their transmissions, if you run them hot a lot, they're going to need maintenance more often. If not, their valve bodies go bad. I think they're working on a fix for that. But that's the only real issue that's come up in the last 5 years. I love this thing. Interior is really nice. The exterior is really nice. That's why it wins Best Large Pickup Truck for 2025. Now we're getting towards the end of this video, and we're going to talk about EVs. So EVs, like I've shown you this already, EVs are not ready yet. So what's the best EV of the year? The answer is none. Zero. There's no best EV of the year. Wait. If you want a good EV, you need to wait. Now, if somehow electric vehicles fit in your particular lifestyle, let's say you live in a suburb, you don't travel far, you never take road trips, you have a way to park your car and charge it every single night off of your house. Let's say you have some solar panels and you want to take advantage of that free energy. I think electric cars make sense that way. but it's a very specific subset. And the best, honestly, the best electric car right now, it's hard to find because long-standing automakers don't make really good EVs yet. They're working on it. And so they know how to make great cars, interiors, the panel fitments, how things get manufactured. They don't know how to make great EVs yet. Good EV manufacturers don't know how to make reliable cars that are, stick well together. They don't know how the manufacturing process. They know how to make a really fancy electric vehicle drivetrain. Like, for example, Lucid Air has a really great engineering team that's figured out like it's gotten light years ahead of technology in terms of electric motor applications. But I'm not sure I would trust their manufacturing capabilities because that's a learned skill that takes decades to learn. And so it's difficult to pick one, but if I were to pick one, it'd be the Tesla Model 3. They have really good incentives right now, 0% APR available, and that's the one I would take. Honestly, I would wait, but if you fit that little subset, Tesla Model 3 is it. They have a performance model if you want to have some fun with it. It is what it is. That's the best EV of the year. The last category, Car of the Year, the most difficult category to do. The reason for that is because there's very stiff competition for best car of the year. This is the car that can take everything you need to do. You can have a lot more fun with it. You can take it to the track. You can take it to the mountains. You can take it on road trips. It's decent on gas. It's going to be reliable. It keeps its residuals, right? So the depreciation's not bad on it. It has a history, right? The company has a history of making great engines for it. The company has a history of making great transmissions for it and all of that good stuff. Let's go for the contenders. Contender number 1, not the Lucid, it's the WRX. And the WRX in 2024, this past year, they had the base model WRX, which is the one I would have recommended. Base model, stick shift only because the automatics in these are CVTs. CVTs don't belong in cars. So get the stick shift version. Unfortunately, the regular base model is going away for 2025. And so the price has gone up all the way to $35,000, almost $36,000. And there's some benefits. It's all-wheel drive. The drivetrain hasn't really changed in like 30 years. And so while it's not the most robust, and for more information, just Google Subaru Ringland failures. Thank me later. But as long as you don't tune it, as long as you don't track it too much, as long as you take care of it and don't abuse it, it'll last you for a long ass time. They're very reliable cars. They know what they're doing. And 20% of Subaru is now, or Fuji Heavy Industries actually, is owned by Toyota. And so their reliability has gotten better and better. I'm not sure their innovation has gotten that much better though. And so that's why they're runner-up. The next runner-up is the Elantra N. It's a great car. It's got room for 5. It's got great performance. The ex-engineer for BMW's M cars actually worked on this, and he's no longer at Hyundai, but he was at Hyundai when they made the N line. And so a great engineer was the head of the N division. So you know it's going to be a great car. It's a great performance car. And if you want something with great performance, great value, 10-year warranty, it's going to be the car for you. My problem is that the engine and transmission are Hyundai sourced. Hyundai's not known to make very good, reliable engines. They're all just blowing up. And so I would keep that 10-year warranty close to the chest. The other problem is that their dealerships suck. If it wasn't for those two things, this might have won Car of the Year. The next one is the GR Corolla. Now, this almost won Car of the Year, but it didn't for one very good reason. And, well, two very good reasons. Reason number one, if you compare it to the winner, it's not very practical. Yes, it's a 4-door hatchback, but when you open the hatch, there's not much space in there. It's all-wheel drive, which is great, but on the track where you want to take your fun hatchback, the all-wheel drive system overheats and shuts off. So it becomes a front-wheel drive car, dragging along a 4-wheel drive system, making it a little bit heavier. I love the engine. It's a 3-cylinder Toyota-sourced engine. I think it's going to do great. I think it's got a little bit of reliability quirks right now. They're figuring out the kinks in a new engine, as they always do. They'll figure it out. They are Toyota. But that's why it didn't win overall, although it's a great car. And the winner for Car of the Year is another car that I own. If you've been watching the channel, you know this car very well. It's the Honda Civic Type R. The Honda Civic Type R has a great hatchback space. It's a large car. Compared to the Corolla, this is a fairly large car. It's under $50,000, right? You can get this car for like $50,000, which is a little bit expensive, but for what you get SUV space, you get economy car practicality, you get economy car fuel economy, you get luxury car comfort, right? The seats, the interior, super nice. You get the heritage of the Type R brand. You get the performance on track that the Type R brings. And these cars don't depreciate. These cars just do not depreciate. You can buy one for 50 grand, and in 5 to 10 years, you can probably sell it for like 45 to 50 grand. And when you take into account inflation, you're basically selling it for what you paid for it. It's crazy how good this car is. It's crazy how good this car continues to be. It's stone dead reliable. Honda engineers know what they're doing, and it's the last Honda you can really buy still made in Japan. That's going to be worth some money down the line when this car becomes a collector car. So there you have it, guys. The top 10 list for 2025 with the new criteria and the new categories. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. I really enjoyed making this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. If you liked this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you do like it, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
You won't remember my name. This is the last time you will see me at the top. My doubts will destroy my dreams. The more I seem to learn, the more I seem to lose. I want to carry on, but not today. This is the point I give up. But not today. I want to carry on. The more I seem to lose, the more I seem to learn. My dreams will destroy my doubts. You will see me at the top. This is the last time you won't remember my name.